We've all been locked down for quite some time, so you know what? Fuck it. Roots growing out, fucking no eyebrows, acne's all out there. We all know we don't look good. Who cares? Not like I ever look good. Anyway, let's talk about this movie. So the movie I'm talking about today is called The Temple. And it's one of those movies. It's one of those movies where a bunch of white people go to an Asian country, this time Japan, and then stuff happens, and, maybe they return or not. Also, before we start, this movie is only 78 minutes long. 78. 73 of it is the movie itself. It's a quick sit, but you're definitely aggravated the entire time. So yeah, the movie starts here, says present day. You know it's a great start when it has to tell you what time what time it is, what year it is. It's definitely not a period drama, just so you know. The Japanese authority find a camera. Oh, here we go. It's the woods, there's a camera. Oh, is it like Americans going to Japan, Blair Witch? Wait, we had the forest already. But that wasn't found footage. Oh, what is this gonna be? Then there's a notebook. There's blood on it. Ghosts. I like it says ghostly crescendo, comma, animal-like growl. So, there's some noises happening. Like you do. So here we have the title sequence, which gives like a lot of, exposition. So 1968 in Showa, 43 something. I don't know. That's what the translation is telling me. 6 children went missing. Okay, so this thing's called the temple. Something probably happened there. Let's see. The monk in the temple. Alright, cool. Thank you. Ominous rumors continue to spread. Sweet. The best kind of rumors, the ominous kind. So here we go. The temple. And just, keep in mind the, just children. So here we are. This feels... Oh, so many movies I watch feel like this. It's like, here we go. There's that blue filter. Just like my shirt. It's the exact filter, the exact blue filter that happens in all these movies. Is it an insane asylum? I wonder. Because there's a guy, who's just... He's covered in plastic. Like he's an overgrown baby. And it's raining outside. So we have cop guy here, detective guy, and then we have Japanese Johnny Greenwood here, who's the interpreter for this thing. Here we're guessing the main character. He's fucked up looking, blurry behind, the plastic and stuff. And according to the subtitles, he is called Faceless. So that's great. That means a lot. So they show him this video, this vlog kind of thing, from this girl, and they ask him, like, who is she? And this girl, there's, again, more exposition. Thank you, movie. Okay. Yeah. As it says here, got the new camera, and it's ready to go to Japan. And then this is the actual footage itself. And she goes, so Chris is one of my closest childhood friends. Chris being, the main guy. Okay. And he really needs this trip. His brother died in a horrific accident. Like, that's always the thing. I love how it's like, this person really needed this trip. Their sibling died from a horrible accident. Not just like, maybe this person just needed a few days off, Like, something like that, Like, this person just needed a break. Just need to leave the country, something different, new environment to explore. But it was like, no, this person's like, then someone died, okay? Yeah. And then, of course, we get the whole thing where she goes, so I'm doing my thesis on religious studies. It's like, thank you. Okay. So at least there's something like this where there's like a reason for him to go to Japan. It wasn't just like, we're gonna go to Japan, to like fuck around, Okay, there's a purpose, religious studies. Maybe that's why there's a temple involved, that kind of stuff. That's why she's kind of vlogging per se, it's for her thesis, At the same time, no, it really doesn't matter. Tokyo. Well, from what I remember in Tokyo, it's not this dark, but I guess. Oh, also my favorite thing, 5 days earlier. So this movie's one of those, we're looking at, the third act, and it's a record scratch. You might be asking yourself, I got myself into this situation. Well, it turns out, let me tell you how this all began. Like, this is the horror version of that. It's not gonna get better. This is the main guy, Chris, or as I'm gonna refer to him as, Taylor Kitsch. he's the bestie to the girl we just saw. They're in the cab on the way to the hotel, and he just so happens to know Japanese. And mind you, the boyfriend of the girl, who we later meet here, you know, because they've never met, they've been friends since like kindergarten, you know, all this shit. And the boyfriend's never met the bestie. Now this is their first time meeting. You know, like there's this whole tension in this entire film about like the two of them. We'll get to more of that later. But the boyfriend asked Taylor Kitsch here, "Oh, how do you know Japanese?" You could be like, "I studied it in high school, bro," or something, or like even the response of, "I'm a huge fan of anime," you know. Then I'd be like, "All right, no." His response is, "Well, I've always wanted to come here." That's a great explanation, bro. That's a great explanation. You always wanted to go. Cool, man. Cool. We get like this Japan montage of them just like having their first night in Japan, which, you know, it makes me really miss being there. But anywho, yeah. So, of course, this camera's constantly focused on the girl. It also does this a lot where it goes from like the POV of whomever's holding whatever camera to like this, where it's like, anyway, remember, it's not found footage, and you're kind of like, all right, you know. Yeah, so focus on that, the three of them going bar hopping in those tiny little alleys they got going on. As you can see here again, he is just fucking camera fucking this girl. Jesus. So then they're at like a 7-Eleven or Lawson's or some shit. And again, this is the montage. You know what the hell they're saying. They're just doing things. And it's like, oh my god, like there's like, I think there's juice. Is it juice? I think it's juice. I don't know. Is it juice? Maybe it's a juice. Like, oh, there's an orange on it. Maybe it means something. Like, anyway. I also love how much time has gone by? Was it 3:50? Oh, okay. This whole time he's just on 100% battery. I mean, good on you. The moment something is at 100%, use it for 2 seconds. It's at 95. Nothing's ever at 100%. You know, Taylor Kitsch, he's like, I feel like the third wheel. And she's like, no, you're not third wheel. Like, my boys are with me. Anyway, the next day, they go on a Shinkansen to wherever. I wonder which line they took that had like the chairs facing each other like that, because the ones I took, like, they're all facing the one direction the train was heading. The only reason why I want the face-to-face experience, just because I want my own like opening of an Inception moment for myself. That's really it. Other than that, yeah, I think they also got like it looks mad fancier than, I mean, anything in Japan looks fancier, like, for fuck's sakes. Like their public toilets are like, wow, this is really fancy, you know, compared to anything in the States. So now here, this is the girl filming on her camera, which is like the same thing as the boy's camera, but it's not the same, you know? Like, the girl has what I have there, which is like just a simple video camera. The guy has like a DSLR. You know, they're the same camera. They're the same camera. This is our room. I mean, it is pretty, because again, they're in Japan. They get to this, you know, random little shop, and there's this book. Looks familiar. Okay, it says folk tales on it. And the girl flips through it. She's like, oh, this looks really cute. You know, she sees the drawing of the temple. And she's like, oh my god, I'm doing religious studies. I want to go to, like, this thing. You know, even though if you're thinking you're going to go to Japan, you probably have a bunch of stuff mapped out. But you're like, no, I really want to go to this one spot that I randomly found in a notebook that's a drawing. Cool. So Taylor Kitsch asks, you know, store lady, like, hey, you know, how much is this? She kind of flips through. She's like, what is this? Like, where did you find it? Doesn't that remind you of the movie, like, The Number 23? Where they're like, where's this book? They're like, I don't know, like, I don't. Yeah. Anyway, she looks at it and she's just like, it's not for sale. And they're like, well, what do you mean? They're like, no, it's a bad book. And then the girl's like, I don't care, like, literally talking through her teeth like that. I don't care, just ask her, like, how much she wants for it. Like, bitch, this is, like, classic horror movie trope. You got one person already being like, don't do it, you know, you're all doomed, you know, like, don't buy the book. But he's like, I really want the book. Like, okay. They don't sell her the book. So the girl is like, oh my god, I'm jet lagged, so it's gonna be a boys' night out. And they're like, yay, boys' night out. See, and then, again, as you can see here, this is the camera. This is the camera they found in the woods. But that's the camera. But apparently, again, it's, as you can see, it's the same thing as we saw here. It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. Cameras, all cameras are the same thing. I love how it says, Christian James got the are gonna get themselves into trouble. Well, here, as you can see, that's boyfriend with random Japanese girl. So they're making out. They're totally fucking making out. Like, oh, wow, okay. Alright, man, you love your girl. You came all the way to Japan with her, you know, to help her with her thesis studies, but alright. Oh, I was drunk. Okay, whatever, bro. We're back to the insane asylum, whatever fucking place, and they're asking, like, well, who's this woman? You know, they're trying to, you know, they're trying to do their investigative shit. They're like, well, who's this woman? And, you know, faceless dude is like, that's all you get from him, you know. Chris Taylor Kitsch boy. So he practically breaks into the fucking place and it's like, let me just steal the book for the girl, you know, because that'll win her heart over because I stole, you know. And then he turns around and, oh, look, there's Rich Brian. And then he's like so happy that he has the book. He's like, oh my god, I'm gonna win the girl's heart that I've been friends with forever, you know, because I stole this book that she wanted with a drawing of a place we've never heard of. Okay. And now we have, like, the second person to warn them. So the first is the store lady who is like, don't buy the book. And then this guy, the bar patron, is like, yeah, don't go. It's very unlucky, you know. And then he's like, unlucky. Yeah. And then even the bartender, who, you know, one of those happenstances, just like him knowing Japanese, is like, oh yeah, I grew up in, like, the village right near this. Anyway. And you're like, oh. So he leaves, and he's like, oh man, I really want, like, I guess a non-alcoholic drink, and goes to a vending machine. And then, you know, hobo lady is there, and she's got, like, cut, like, horns on her head, which, you know, I don't think they're actually horns. I think she just has, like, cysts growing, and she needs to go see Dr. Pimple Popper to get that shit removed. And then, you know, ooh, you know, and stuff. And then there's, like, people with baskets on their heads. I mean, like, you know, I was in, like, Harajuku in immense pain. I saw someone with, like, a giraffe mask on, and I was like, is this what I'm seeing, or is this, like, a pain-induced thing? So, I don't know. He could be drunk. This could probably not really be, or it could be. Who knows? And yes, the giraffe mask person was real. So the boy gets back to their, I guess, hotel or room or whatever, and then there's, like, a thing with a hand and a claw. You know. So next day he gives the book to the girl, and she's like, oh my god, off the shoulder, you know, she's like, how did you, like one of those, she's always like that, like, coy, like that. She's like, how did you, like, get it? Oh my god, she got it. Oh my god, Chris got the book, like all that stuff. And the guy's like, my god, fuck. Like, so stupid. He has the address on a cocktail napkin because, you know, when he went to the bar, the guy did say, oh, you used to live in that village, blah, blah, blah. So, what are they gonna do? After getting, technically they got 3 warnings, because even the barkeep is like, oh yeah, like, shit happened, I used to live by there. I obviously don't. I'm a bartender over here, you know. But he's like, yeah, give me the address. So they get in a cab, and they're heading into the countryside of Japan, which looks gorgeous. I wouldn't fuck around like they're doing, but it looks pretty. Their luggage, they're climbing up a hill and all that stuff, and they're like asking this random old lady, like, oh, is there like a place where you rent a room? You know, because we didn't, you know, do any actual research. Which I find funny. This movie came out in like 2017 or something, but no one has like a cell phone. Like, there are times like in movies where I'm glad, like, you know, they're not dependent on constantly having, like, a smartphone in hand and saying, like, oh my god, Snapchat that, you know, like, those kind of things. At the same time, so while they're trying to figure out, like, to get a room and stuff, this old man who was like, why are you here? Like, he straight up sees these, like, 3 Americans and is like, why are you here? And they're like, oh, we want to go see a temple. You know, boy who speaks Japanese is like, we want to go see a temple, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, don't go. So that's the 4th person being like, don't go. And he's like, there's a guy who went. He came back with his eyes in his hand. Taylor Kitsch boy is like, oh, like this? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, nah, bitch, like this. You know? And then I love how the boy is like, oh, I don't understand what you're talking about. And it wasn't like he said in English, so it's not like he said in Japanese to, like, play it off to the man. He said in English. He was straight up like, I don't get it. I don't get what you mean. The guy was holding his eyeballs in his hands, you know? Like, still not enough of a warning. They're still gonna go. They get a room at this restaurant, and it's like, oh, hey, guy with, you know, really poorly done wig, you're having soup. Let me take a picture of you. Yeah, let me do... I have to say, a lot of the establishing shots of the countryside of Japan, like, they were gorgeous. Like, one, it's because it's the countryside of Japan, so it's just pretty in general. Two, whomever was operating the camera kind of knew to be like, oh, this is pretty. I guess I'll have my Nat Geo moment. So this lovely old woman, you know, is like, oh, I got you guys more blankets and stuff. Come have some sake with me. And the guy's like, sure. Then Rich Brian shows up again, and he's like, what the fuck? You were just, like, in the city over there. He's like, what are you doing here? And he's just like, I live here. Also, Shibu Inu. So he goes up to old man with no eyes, and guess what? Yeah, he's the old man who came back with his eyes in his hands. And he asks him about the temple. And the dude, you know, again, blind, is like, I've been waiting for you. I knew you were gonna come. And it's like, okay, so that's like the fifth thing telling you, like, maybe you shouldn't go. Like, if someone's... So that evening, that boy's camera apparently also has night vision, and he records the couple fucking. Which is hilarious because anyone, like, in the movie you see it, anyone can see that bright red-ass light coming off of the camera. So you know someone has, like it can be dark as hell, especially, like, the girl, like, the girl is facing him. She can see that red light just like, yep, he's totally, watching us and stuff. There's a part where they kind of zoom in and they show the girl just, like, making direct contact. Like, she's like, oh, yeah, I want you to watch us fuck. Like, again, this tension between the three of us does not add more to this movie. So during the fucking scene, then they're like, oh, who's that? Is that a monster? I don't know. Oh my god, is that an eye? You know. Spooky. The next day, you know, Brian kind of takes them around and I guess shows them, like, where the temple is. So before they get to the temple, they get to, like, an abandoned, like, mine shaft area, all that stuff. And the boyfriend is like, oh, hey, let's explore this, da-da-da, like, follow me. And the girl's like, I really want to go to the temple. Like, we'll come back to this. Like, I want to go to the temple, blah, blah. And that's why they kind of, like, she puts, like, the scarf, like, on the thing, you know, to find yourself back. Which, again, if we haven't learned from all these other movies, when you put a marker down, it just doesn't help. Anyway, also, mine shaft. We're going to come back to that. So they're at the temple, you know, boy is just photographing stuff like you do. He looks into, like, a crack in the floor, and then he gets dragged down into it. Alright. So he's passed out. He breaks his leg. And then, you know, boyfriend jumps down there to, like, you know, save him and stuff. And also, are these child bones? These child bones here? So randomly, the boyfriend goes to, like, take a pee or some shit like that. And then girl tells main guy, like, pretty much like, hey, you're the only one that knows I had an abortion. Like, what? Huh? So, of course, you know, as you see her, she goes, so you're the only one who knows, and the boyfriend just shows up out of nowhere, you know, suddenly. He's like, knows what? Huh? Oh, bro? Yeah, and then she's like, oh, nothing, blah, blah, blah. And then they go inside the temple and have an argument with one another, you know, like you do. And then, like, the guy just says, hey, I'm leaving. You can have my bag. There's food and water in there. I'll send help tomorrow. Like, what? 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 Okay. Sure. Again, this is adding to the story somehow. So then the girl is freaking out. She's like, oh, I need to keep this fire going, and I'll grab more sticks or whatever shit. So then, like, she goes, of course she's by herself, the flashlight starts acting up, like it does. And she's like, oh shit, it's dark, you know, blah blah blah. And then there's, like, these figures in front of her. And then there's these figures in front of her. I don't know if she sees them or not, because then the scene just, you know, cuts. The girl just shows back up at the campfire, and she's just flushed with tears. Of course, the guy gets spooked because, you know, she didn't have a flashlight on, so he didn't know. She just shows up, just crying, and she went, my flashlight went out. And it's like, okay, whatever. Then they go inside the temple, and then, you know, the girl is just like, oh, wrap me in your arms, and you're like North Face and stuff. Okay, fine. So of course, the dude's kind of like, oh my god, I get to the end, like, for reasons. Animal, like, breathing, growling. Yeah, so the boyfriend is, like, trying to leave the forest, but he's having trouble, So anyway, something, the boyfriend screams off in the distance, and the girl is like, while all snuggled with, Bestie, she's like, oh my god, my cheating boyfriend, and runs out of the temple. Suddenly, my heart changes. Ooh, ah, So the boyfriend gets killed by who the fuck knows. The main dude tries to run after the girl, but because his leg's all fucked up, he just, like, falls out of the temple. Like, I know your leg is fucked up, but you still know how stairs work, right, bro? The girl, she's running to try to find, the boyfriend. She ends up right where she leaves the scarf at the mines and stuff. So she thinks he's there in the mines. It's like we haven't learned anything from Jordan Peele's Us. Like, there's something about underground tunnels and shit you shouldn't fuck around with. Back at the temple, all the little boys that were missing come flooding out of the fucking floorboard. And they get up, and they're just like, we're little boys, because that's what little boys sound like, Back in the mines, because this is how this movie ends, back in the mines, the girl's just running around frantically, like, they try to look for a guy. And like I said, if this movie didn't already begin to feel like Blair Witch, it really looks like Blair Witch here. You really think she's going to round the corner and her boyfriend's going to, like, stand in the corner kind of shit. Yeah, and then, Thing with Hands is back. Anyway, back at the temple, the group of little boys are, clawing at him and stuff. So that's probably why he's fucked up looking at the insane asylum, because, little boys attacked him. Okay, that sounded really wrong. Okay. Girl sees boyfriend just tied up to a chair at the end of this part of a mine. And, she runs to him because that's safe. And, spooky, blah, 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 spirit of Halloween. So she freaks out. She runs away because she's freaked out. And I don't think she did her, like, Silent Hill thing. Remember to go left, left, right, left, and all that shit. So she just runs. So, she ends up at what she thought was the entrance, which, you're panicked. Like, I can kind of forgive her at the same time, no, because you ran into the mines to begin with. And she's like, oh my god, I thought there was an exit here. And then she's just, like, freaking out instead of, I don't know, get up and then turn around and try another route, But fine. They blocked the exit for you, girl. So we get back to the insane asylum, and, the detective and interpreter are kind of like, okay, so where is she then? They're like, we haven't found her. Where is she? And he's like, what do you mean? Like, where's the guy? Like, what happened? Da-da-da. And then the main guy, face guy, is also like, what about Little Rich Brian? Like, what about him? And they were like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, he's sitting outside in the hallway right now when I came by. It's getting all Blair Witch 2, of all things. It's getting Blair Witch, but then now it takes, like, a sharp fucking right and decides to go Blair Witch 2, which is the better one, It turns out, oh, no surprise, fucking little Brian, didn't exist the entire time. Like, didn't you think it was weird that, like, this little boy was, like, at the bookstore and then in this far-off village that you had to take, like, a cab and a half and hike? This little boy's like, oh yeah, I live here, and then during the day I work there. What do you, me? Like, oh yeah, I live here, and then during the day I travel several hours there for work. Okay, you're 7. I mean, I know you're Asian, but God, you're still 7, Oh yeah, he killed the boyfriend. Aw. Would not have guessed. And he's just kind of like, Michael Jackson, Michael Jefferson. He's like, what? I can't believe it. Might as well be the goth girl in Blair Witch 2 crying and, being, what's his name, just looking at the footage like, that's not real. Because. So he is so upset to find out that he hallucinated Brian. He killed the boyfriend. Who knows what happened to the girl? All this, like, did he claw his own face? Like, who knows? Yes, that's what happened. He gets up, grabs a pen, and fucking stabs Johnny Greenwood in the fucking jugular, like you do. And then, like, the nurses, because they're in a hospital, they were able to, like, help him and stuff, and he like runs out the door. Like, I don't know if they're trying to insinuate that he like left the hospital, because if you're in an insane asylum, I'd be like, you could probably get like halfway down the hallway, you know, before someone's just gonna like map you down. But then again, I don't know how it is in Japan. Is it more security, less security? I don't know. Yeah, so we go back to the, you know, the little restaurant where the old lady had, you know, given them a room. And, you know, oh look, there's a picture of kids. That feels familiar from, you know, like, you know, earlier in the movie. Oh wait, look, there's little Rich Brian. And there's the temple. The end. 73 minutes of that. Like, at no point watching this movie did I think this movie was good. Like, just starting off the movie with the whole, like, present day, I was already like, oh god. And then it did the whole, like, we're gonna, you know, interrogate someone. I was like, oh god, here we go. Like, something must have happened. And then it says, like, 5 days earlier, turns out my buddy just knows Japanese. Like that, it just does, like, all these random, like, oh yeah, this perfectly, blah, blah, blah. And then you literally had, there was five instances of people telling you not to go to the temple. Like, don't buy the book. Oh, you heard about the temple. Don't go to the temple. Okay, you're near the temple. Don't go to the temple. And they're still like, we're gonna go. And then they went. And then it was like, how could we predict this happen? Like, you did it to yourself. It's the whole thing with the trope of, you went up to the attic, you went down to the basement, you opened the Necronomicon and read out of it, you know? But this is like worse. Like, it doesn't, like, you could have taken this concept and like done better with it, and it's not. It's just, it's really, really dumb. And then like to also then put like a twist at the end and get all Blair Witch 2 of all things, really just, like, just, god, 70-minute movie. Anyway, oh my god. But yeah, that was The Temple, and I'm gonna take the nap.